Well, today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this cardboard envelope, or several of these, to make that cardboard box that was in the thumbnail. Now, what I've done is I've cut off 10 of the sides for this box, and you'll see why I need 10 coming up soon, because I do double these up to give them extra thickness, and 2 I used for extra support, and these are the larger bases. And I haven't given the measurements because as long as your side bits are the same length as each of the side, it's up to you what size box you make. And I'm using just a white glue here to glue everything together, and as you can see I'm sandwiching this together, and it's surprising how sturdy this will become as you move forward on this. I do put something that's heavy over the top of this while it's drying as well to make sure that it dries nice and flat. I use several different glues throughout this project depending on which one is right for the actual thing that I'm doing at the particular time. So at the moment I'm using a hot glue gun just to attach these sides to the box, and I'm also using it to attach the hinges to the box as well. And I've chosen here 3 small brass hinges, but what you'll see coming up in the video is I change my mind on these and have to remove them, so I'll show you how I remove them. And when I've got the hinges attached, what I do is I add on another 2 pieces of the card onto the hinges, to not only to cover them up, but it also gives that a lot more stability. And by clamping these down, what I can do is I get a really good adhesion to the hinges going through. Now these bits are just where the actual envelopes fold over, and I've cut them up and I've got beautiful little folds, so I didn't have to do any work, and I'm using those to support the corners of the box, which helps it keep its shape, but also what it looks like at the end, which is really important as well. And I always make them a little bit taller than what I'm needing them to do, because once that is dry with the hot glue, then I just go along with a really sharp knife and cut them off at the relevant height, as you can see here. And now what I'm doing is I'm using some pieces of just brown paper, and this is the paper that comes in Amazon packages. I never throw it away, I keep it for this sort of stuff, and I'll go over both the sides and the bottom of the box. And once again, this not only gives it a real bit of stability, but also I like the way that it gives the picture, I like the way that it gives the final result and texture. And all I'm using here is a white glue, again with a little bit of water mixed in to thin it down with, and a brush to paint it on with. And as you can see, it's really nice and dry, and this is where I decide that I'm going to remove those hinges. So I'm just using a sharp knife to cut away the glue down both sides, removing those hinges and replacing them with these silver or steel hinges, because I found some really nice corner pieces that I think are going to look great on this box, and as a result it wouldn't have matched the hinges, so I'm changing them. So you can make changes as you go along and up things or change things around, and it still works out. So what I will do is I'll pop these in once I know that I've got them nicely cut up and the right size to go in. I'll add some glue into the inside so it secures them over, and this is the corners that I've got that go really nicely with those hinges, and you'll see it at the end, they look amazing. And then to give it a bit of extra security and to cover up any of the splits that I've made, I'm using this PVA water mix and a bit more paper. Now some people use flour and water, and you know, that's great if it works for them, but I'm always concerned if I use flour and water that it might attract insects or rats or something, or mice, and they might eat it. But I'm probably being silly. So I've made the box lid in exactly the same way as I made the bottom of the box. And again, I'm going over it with the paper to give it a really nice, secure and nice textured finish. I probably only do 1 layer or 2 layers and then let that dry. And then I apply the hinges, or I attach the hinges in exactly the same way as I did for the bottom box. I make some little splits in between the double layers, push these hinges into those little splits, and then fill them with hot glue like this, and then I will carefully go round and do a little bit more paper mache or paper on it. And as you can see, the box now has closed up. It's got a bottom and a top to it, and it works really well. And I've cut out all these triangles and or diamonds, as you'll see why. I didn't cut them out by hand. I set my Cricut up to cut them out. I used the leather 1mm setting, and it cut them beautifully first time, and did them really, really quickly. And what I've done is I've drawn a center line down the middle of the box, because I'm going to apply these all over the box. And once again, I'm using a different glue. I'm using what we call a Yoo-hoo glue, but it's an all-purpose glue, and you can get Yoo-hoo glue everywhere, I think. I will list it in the description below, so please don't worry. And what I'm using, just a little bit of card to spread that glue out to allow it to really dry up a little bit. I leave it about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I put the cardboard triangles down. If you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for any of my videos and help support this channel, because this channel currently isn't AdSense worthy or anything like that, then the link for that is in the description below. It really does help support me and keep this channel going. So as you can see, I've done a full line. I'm happy with the lineup of those, and now I'm going to continue doing it and using, again, the same glue. And that's all done. It's all finished now and ready to be painted. And there you can see the people that have already bought me a coffee last month. Their names are on my coffee board. Thank you, everyone. So I'm just using normal acrylic iridescent paint here, which is by Arteza. And the reason I use the iridescent paint is because I like the way that it comes out for the black. Now, when I put the other colour on, I'm not using an iridescent paint. I'm just using a normal acrylic paint. And I will just go along and carefully paint each one of these internal triangles, making sure that I get all the edges. And then I'll go over the ones that are prominent or proud with the red acrylic paint to give it that contrast. And as I know that I've already got my paint up the sides, I don't have to worry that I've got any cardboard exposed, which really does make a difference and help. And now, once that's all dry, I'm going over it with the Dragonfly glaze to give it that extra shimmer, and it's the blue-red Dragonfly glaze. It doesn't really show up brilliantly on the video, but it actually looks beautiful in real life. So you'll have to take my word for that. And the link for my website as well is in the description below. So if anybody wants to go along and have a look at my website, please do and feel free. So these are the little corners that I'm going to put on. Now, they don't have little holes for some little tacks that I am actually going to attach, but I glue those in. So I'm just cutting myself a small bit of stick now so I can ensure that when I squeeze this all-purpose glue, that dries clear, by the way, into these, I can use that little bit of stick there just to make sure that it spreads out and goes all the way around the whole thing, so we get a really good adhere to the box, so I know that they're not going to come off. So I go around, put those on all the external corners, as you can see here. I just check that it's all lined up, and it is. It's all nice. And now what I can do is I can put my latch on. And I'm using the screws that come with the latch, and I screw them through because they're really, really short, and they don't come right the way through. They adhere quite nicely. Although I do dip the screws first into some super glue before I screw them in, because that way when that super glue dries, I know that this hinge really isn't going to go anywhere on this box. So just gently screwing them in, because I don't want to do any damage to the work that I've done. Although I can assure you that it is quite a robust box. A robust box. So both of those now are nearly in, and once that glue dries that they've been dipped into, that will be nice and sturdy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same for the bottom latch. So once I know where it needs to be, I will screw that in. Again, after having dipped them into some super glue, and then I will do the other side and then check it that it all fits up. Now these little holes, as I said, are there to put the tacks in, and what I've done is I'm just making a little hole through the box, and I'm using just a little bradawl for that. And then I've cut these tacks down using a pair of pliers, dip them again into super glue, and then tapping them in. And it just gives it that nice finish. It looks finished, you don't see the little holes, and it also gives it that little extra bit of security as well. But what I would say is these things are likely to scratch the work surface or whatever you put it on. So I'll show how I stop that from happening in a second. So here we go, just drilling that little hole in, using that bradawl drill, handheld drill, so I don't go too far. That's why I didn't use the Dremel. Dipping it into the super glue that I've got on top of this little shot glass, pushing it in, using my long neck pliers, or long nose pliers, and then that's nice and secure. So what I've got is these little plastic feet, and they work great. They stick really, really well. And this just raises it enough off the surface to ensure that those little corner cloths aren't going to scratch anything that is there. So there we go, it's all done. I painted it black inside, and I love the texture that the paper is given, and it latches up nice. I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for, but I'm definitely going to be using it and definitely going to be making some more sorts of things. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you, the link for that is in the description below. Take care, enjoy your crafting.